All right, so let's look at this yellow box at the top of page 574. You can use data from a line plot to answer questions. This line plot shows the number of students in each class at a school. Okay, shows the number of students. We know that because there's the label, there's the title. That tells us what these numbers down here are. 15 students, 16 students, 17 students, and so on. So, what this means is that there are 3 classes that have 20 students. There's 1 class that has 22 students. And there are 4 classes that have 21 students. So if we look at our question, how many students are in most of the classes? How many students are in most of the classes? Well, we're going to go to the one that has the most X's, and that's 21. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is pause, or I'm going to wait. You pause and try to do questions 1 through 4 at the bottom. Use the data from the line plot to answer the questions, and I'll just get you started with this. This is talking about the number of hats. So these numbers down here at the bottom mean hats. 0 hats, 1 hat, 2 hats. Okay, good luck. Okay, do you have it figured out? Let's see what your answers are. Number 1, how many students have 2 hats? The answer? 6. Here's how we know. 2 hats. So we go to that number 2. Because remember, those numbers mean numbers of hats. And we count the X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 2, how many students have just 1 hat? Before I give you the answer, if you need to pause and change, you can. Here we go. How many students have just 1 hat? 3. Why? We go to where there is 1 hat, that's this one right here, and we count the X's, and there are 3. 3 kids have 1 hat. Number 3, how many students have 3 hats? Hopefully you said 4. How do we know? Can you explain it before I do? 3 hats. So oh yeah, you're fast. We go to the number 3 and we count the X's, and there are 4 of them. Number 4, how many students have more than 2 hats? Ooh, that sounds like they're getting us ready for a brain builder. How many students have more than 2 hats? The answer is 7. Well, we find 2 hats, and it says how many have more than 2? Well, I'm going to put a box around anything that's bigger than 2, which is 3, 4, and 5. And I count all of those X's. 4 here, 2 here, 1 here. 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. Look at the talk math at the bottom. How are line plots the same or different than bar graphs or picture graphs? Find somebody near you and tell them what you think the answer is. And let's move on. Now let's look at page 575. Use the data from the line plot to answer the questions. And this line plot is finished. We're not going to add any X's to it. We're just going to get information from it. We're going to read it. The title or the label is number of vegetables. So let's see if you can do numbers 5 through 11. Number 5, which number has the most X's? Number 6, how many students like 4 vegetables? Number 7, which number has the fewest X's? Number 8, how many students like 2 vegetables? Number 9, how many students were surveyed in all? Number 10, how many students like more than 1 vegetable? And number 11, how many students do not like vegetables? Pause it if you need time to go over your answers. All right, let's take a look. Number 5, which number has the most X's? The answer is 4. Okay, how do we know? Well, it's asking for the most X's. And we can see that right here. The mistake you don't want to make is don't count the X's. It didn't say how many X's are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It says which number has the most X's. Okay, now let's look at number 6. How many students like 4 vegetables? The answer is 6. Again, we go to the number. How many students like 4 vegetables? This is called number of vegetables, and it's asking how many like 4. Now we count the X's. Number 7, which number has the fewest X's? The answer is 0. What does that mean? Number 8, how many students like 2 vegetables? The answer is 3. We went to the number 2 and we found 3 X's. Number 9, how many students were surveyed in all? In all. Usually when we see it, it means we have to do what? We have to add. How many students were surveyed in all? The answer is 24. All you had to do was count the X's. Number 10, how many students like more than 1 vegetable? $19. Okay, so we had one like this earlier. More than 1 vegetable. So I'm going to put a box around. You don't have to do it. I'm going to put a box around anything that's more than 1. And I'm going to add it all up. The other way you could do it is, we know from the last question that there were 24 students. And there are 5 here that are fewer than 2, right? Because it asks us they like more than 1 vegetable. So you could also do this, 24 minus that small group, and it's still going to give you 19. Number 11, how many students do not like vegetables? And the answer is 1. How do we know? We go to the 0. 0 vegetables. Oh, somebody's got to talk to that kid. Okay, let's move on. Okay, number 12. Finish the line plot for Ashley. She needs to show that 3 friends each have 2 toy bears. Listen to that part again. She needs to show that 3 friends have 2 toy bears. 2 toy bears. Number of toy bears. So that tells us what these numbers are. Take a moment. Let's see if you can figure this out. Okay. Hopefully you are all ready. Here we go. 3. There are 3 friends who have 2 toy bears. Okay, so we need to put 3 X's in there, and remember, it's got to be clean, neat, straight, organized. Now let's go down to number 13. Oh, it's a brain builders alert. Here we go. 23 students created this line plot to show how many fruits each student likes. Wow, there's a lot of information here. 6 students like the same number of fruit. How many fruits does each of those 6 students like? Oh. Let's read that again. 23 students created this line plot to show how many fruits each student likes. Okay, so let's stop there for a moment. Fruits we like. Okay, so that tells us about this. Those numbers at the bottom are talking about the number of fruits, okay, the fruits that we like. Now, 6 students like the same number of fruit. How many fruits does each of those 6 students like? Pause if you need to. Okay, here we go. The answer is 4. How do we know? Well, it says here, 6 students like the same number of fruit. Well, here we've got 6 students right here. I see 6 X's. And they all like how much fruit? How many fruits? 4. Let's look at the bottom. Colton looks at the line plot above and says 1 student likes 3 fruits. Tell why he is wrong. Make it right. So Colton says that 1 student likes 3 fruits. What mistake is he making? Because I'm looking at the line plot. 3 fruits is right here. But I don't see any X's there. The 3 X's above the number 1 mean that 3 people like 1 fruit. Not 1 person likes 3 fruits. So he mixed these up. Okay, that was a tough one. Let's move on. Okay, so your homework is, please do Chapter 9, Lesson 8 on pages 577 and 578. And if you check our class page, or if your parents check, I've included an extra piece of paper. I didn't send this home with you. It's a paper that's got practice uh, line plots. So if you need to figure something out, if you want to practice making some X's, or um, you can use it as scratch paper or something like that. You don't have to use it, but it's there for you if you need it. Okay, guys, have a fantastic day. The end.